Hey guys, we wanted to showcase our Arlington schedule blocks today, kind of piggybacking off of the announcement we made the other day about the change in scheduling. I wanted to show you exactly what we mean by that in the schedule block as we're announcing it now for Arlington, which is mostly going to be non-contact and screen styles. We do have a couple like 5-on-5 and 6-on-6 contact styles as well. The schedule block, as you can see, I'm going to throw it on the screen. We have different columns for the different blocks. And so Friday AM, let's just start at the top. Just for example, you have 4-on-4 men's comp. In that Friday AM block, anything else in that column that's also highlighted will overlap. So do not register for those divisions. And the way we're doing scheduling this year, you'll do 2 pool play straight into playoffs. You'll do the entire style all the way through before you advance to another style. And so what that means is that if it's in that block, it's not just a small chance it's going to overlap. It will overlap because you're playing the whole format in a half day. It's very similar to how our regional styles go. So I would not try to play 4-on-4 men's comp and 5-on-5 contact pro comp, for example, that are right next to each other. Almost the entire style will overlap. Now, everything below that that's grayed out, that's not highlighted, any of those styles, you're more than welcome to play. And they will not overlap, and we guarantee that. So just making sure you understand how to read it. I'm going to flip over to the women's and co-ed division block as well. So this is specifically for all the women's styles. That also includes co-ed, so you can see at a glance which styles will and will not overlap. And we'll put these in the blog and post them on social media as well. But the beauty of this schedule is that you can actually play up to 6 styles throughout the weekend. The larger formats like 8-on-8 screen, 7-on-7 screen, those are going to be over the course of an entire day. So they'll overlap with both blocks in that day, but then you still got 2 more days where you can play up to 4 more styles. So hopefully this will allow more teams to play more styles. It's also going to be easier on our officiating because the officials will generally be associated with a style from pool play all the way through playoffs and not be jumping back and forth from style to style to style to style, which can cause confusion in the rules and also with the players in the same way. So that's kind of how you read it. I'm going to throw up the men's schedule now. And it's the same thing. So same way, you look in your column, you can see what overlaps, see what doesn't. You can play up to 6 styles. Actually, I think in some cases even more because there's a couple examples like 5-on-5 air it out men's pro and gauntlet pro are in the same block, but we are still scheduling them separate. So you can technically play 7 styles if you really want to. And gauntlet will be single elimination again, as will be the over 35 divisions, to make those a little bit easier so that you're not having to play as many games, since those tend to be a little bit lower priority for some teams. So we have the men's schedule there with the co-ed divisions mixed in as well, just so you can at a glance see what you're capable of playing. Now, what's unique is that in the past, when we announced our Tampa schedules and our Tampa schedule blocks, we wouldn't do that until closer to usually August or maybe July at the very earliest. The problem is that teams were playing in styles throughout the year, and then they get to that point and realize that the biggest tournament of the year, they don't find out until that time what schedules are going to overlap, and they might have wasted time investing into certain divisions that now are going to conflict and they can't do, and so it was just kind of a pain. Well, we are actually announcing our Tampa schedule blocks right now as well, and the non-contact and screen styles that will be in Arlington are going to be the same schedule blocks that will be in Tampa. Meaning, whatever you focus on in Arlington, those same styles are going to be good on the non-contact and screen styles. There are some exceptions, but it's almost going to be identical to the schedule in Tampa. So if you get a bid in like 4 different styles, if you win, that'll increase your seating. You'll get bids, and that'll really help with not having to worry about whether or not it's going to overlap in the future. So, and you can plan all year long. And as part of that, as we throw up the Tampa schedule blocks here, I'll go to day 1, week 1, which is going to be our large formats. Our large formats, we're not going to have a lot of them in Arlington, but we'll have some throughout the year. As you can see, we've got 5 contact all the way to 9 contact in that first weekend. We've already announced some of those changes, but here's the schedule blocks right here, and we'll put them in the blog as well. You can see what overlaps, what doesn't, and you can plan on that throughout the entire year, just to make sure you know which days you're coming. And small formats, they're only going to play in half-day blocks. So if you only play a couple styles, there's a chance you may not even have to be there all 3 days because your style may only be spread out over 1 or 2. So we really think that's going to help with a lot of the team's travel issues, with it being over 2 weekends or even just being spread over 3 days or not on a holiday weekend. You may not have to be there unless you're playing in 6, 7 styles. You probably won't have to be there the whole time. You can if you want to, but I think that's going to be a benefit for teams to save on some of their travel costs, is not having to commit to all 3 days for every single style. The other big thing is it's going to mean that each format is going to overlap less. You know exactly which styles will overlap, and the ones that don't are guaranteed that they won't. And so plan on that. Don't try to get into 2 different styles that are in the same blocks. Same thing in Tampa, same thing in Arlington. So I think that getting the schedule blocks out for Tampa this far in advance is really going to help a lot of teams plan the days they have to be in Tampa, plan which styles they want to focus on throughout the year, and that's going to be a good quality of life improvement, so that you're not wasting your time or getting bids in styles that you really can't even use at the end of the day. So from the second week of Tampa, we'll throw those up there as well. These are going to be the schedule blocks for the small formats. And as you can see, like we talked about, basically everything is going to mirror what we did in Arlington and to help those teams out. The exceptions being, we're not going to have the U23 and the O45, which we are introducing this year for the men specifically. We won't have those in Arlington, so those are being included on this block. And the 5 Contact Pro is a little different in Tampa because we're splitting it over the 2 weeks. All the 4-on-4, 5-on-5 non-contact styles, gauntlet styles, air it out, 7-on-7 screen, 8-on-8 screen, the exact same schedule block that you see here is what we're using in Arlington. So just wanted to kind of show everybody what that looks like, just to give you a better idea of how to plan, how it makes the scheduling easier on the players, on the officials, allows you to play more blocks, more styles, and allows you to plan your travel a little bit easier in the process. So feel free to let us know if you've got any comments or questions as always, and we will see you at the next one in Vegas.